Yo, what's good, everybody? You already know it's Friday, so new video. Yo, today I want to talk about just instead of giving you guys a topic and kind of just touching on it, I want to give you guys more background, like who I am, like how I grew up, like the things that I learned. So that in the future, when you guys see more videos, you guys are more familiar with like my message or what I'm about or why I say the things that I say, right? I'm gonna tell you guys things that I've never really told people unless they really ask. But as far as putting it out there for everybody, I mean, I've never done that. Um, so I think to start from the beginning, man. It's important to put things in perspective. I grew up, Hialeah in Miami. My dad left our family when I was like 4. I have a brother and a sister. My older brother is like 6 years older than me, so he was about 10 or so when my dad left. And my sister's like 3 years older than me, so she was around 7. And that touched my siblings in different ways. It impacted them in different ways. But from a young age, pretty much, like I didn't have like really like a father figure if it wasn't for my brother, right? So my brother actually went to the military when I was 13 or so, right? I was going into 7th grade. He went to the army, and this is really important, guys, because this is the time that me going out into the world, I was really without like a male like role model figure in my life. My brother was that in so many ways. Um, and since he went to the military, man, I remember when I was 13 in 7th grade, that's when things I can remember vividly in my life, I want to say they started getting interesting because I had no direction really. I had been in sports. My brother put me into cross country. I loved basketball. I would play basketball all the time. Actually, where I'm recording this right now is on the basketball court here in Somali Lakes. As you can see here, there's like garbage on the floor. It's not really used anymore. They took down the rims, but this is an area where I spent a lot of my time in my youth, right? I was always taught to be a hard worker. My mom taught me a lot of morals and values. But at 13, when my brother left to the military, guys, this is a very, I don't want to say a dark time in my life, but if you're confused and lost as a man, you're going to make mistakes, right? And I found certain things hard, and I had to learn a lot of things on my own. This is important to the message that nowadays like I hold and the person who I am, because bro, a lot of things I had to really learn on my own, bro. I remember Googling how to be more social. I remember Googling how to be better with friends. I remember Googling like how to do everything. I was always an actually curious person. I guess part of that was because I was a hard worker and because I actually wanted to learn things. Like, man, by all means and definitions, growing up with a single mom, we really didn't have money. We didn't go on vacations. Our car, I remember I didn't have no AC in a car until I was like maybe 14 or 15. And that's when my mom got a 2001 Lexus. So by all means, like I had ambition and I had aspirations to become someone and make something out of my life. Um, and during this time, where I didn't have like necessarily a male role model in my life, where I had to learn things on my own. The wind is going crazy right now, but anyways, I had to really research and through trial and error make mistakes, um, really learn about life, man. And looking back on it, I'm 25 now. I'm super grateful for all those moments because fast forward, as I'm 13, 14, I'm 15 years old, I'm 16 years old, I'm playing basketball, I'm on the team. It's not going well for me. Like, I really don't have a lot of confidence. I worked very hard. I didn't have the confidence to do well in games and in practice. I guess looking back on it, maybe I had like anxiety, or maybe I was nervous, or I was just very not a confident kid, man. I was very weak, even though my skills were there. If you don't have the confidence to employ those skills, you're gonna not perform, and that's exactly what happened. Now, fast forward when I'm 16 and I stopped playing basketball. I wasn't good enough to play varsity. Um, that's when I got into, playing basketball was always a part of a bigger journey I always had a kid of just being a better man, right? As a kid, my dream was, oh, I want to buy my mom a house. I want to, make it out. I want to take care of my family. And I thought basketball was the way. You couldn't convince me as a kid that I was going to make it to the NBA. That's how delirious I was. I always have been. So when I switched from basketball to business and making money, first it happened with selling brownies. I'd sell brownies. I'd sell 60 a day. I'd sell 60 a day, 5 days in a week. I make $300 a week, right? As like a 15, 16-year-old kid. Then I started cutting hair, and my $300 a week turned into $500 a week. Then it turned to $1,000 a week. And I was making pretty good money, right? This is around 2017, 2018. And I'm giving you guys the condensed version, right, of me cutting hair. I might have to make about me cutting hair, right? Condensed version, of me learning things and all that. But I can make separate videos about all these different topics and different parts of my life. I'm doing very well cutting hair. Fast forward, right? I'm 17, 18 years old. I'm like winning awards. I've only been cutting for hair like a year and a half in high school. I'm getting very well known in high school. Like, a lot of people know me. I'm getting somewhat respected. I'm even starting to get, attention, maybe even from girls. Although I never really paid them too much attention like other guys did, right? I was always super focused for the most part. On top of that, I had one relationship in high school, didn't go well. I learned a lot. I try to be the person that when something bad happens to me one time, or I make a mistake, or I fail, I try to let it only be one time, right? So fast forward, I'm about to graduate high school, man, and I joined the military, bro. This is a move that not a lot of people anticipated. They didn't know why it happened. I remember people telling me like, wow, it's so cool that you found your passion. It's so cool that you're doing what you love. How'd you do it? How'd you find it? You're making a lot of money. You're getting well known. And I was like, man, I don't know. I always did everything with 100% effort, and that will teach you a lot of things in life, right? So when it came time to graduate high school, I remember it was around April or March of my senior year that I was making a lot of money cutting hair. I was thinking maybe about going to college, obviously continue my business of cutting hair. And man, I got the idea of joining the military. The reason why that idea came, guys, was I didn't feel satisfied making the money I was making, even though it was a lot. Like, I'm pretty sure if I would have stayed in Miami, I definitely would have been by 6 figures, man. I definitely probably would have bought a house. I was a very hard worker. I gave pretty good service, right? But I understood that what I was seeking for, and I would have always been seeking for, I wanted to learn how to be a man. I wanted to be tough. I wanted to have answers in my life. I wanted to be competent. I wanted to be a man that people can rely on. That's what I wanted since a youth, man. And I didn't have that growing up. Obviously, I had it in my brother. He went to the Army. He went to the military, and I had to figure things out on my own. And for some reason, I started reading military books. I started listening to military podcasts, and I saw the military as a way to give me those lessons, those tough lessons to speed up my process of being a man. And man, looking at it now, undeniably, and through that process, it definitely happened that way. I joined the Navy, and September of 2019, I shipped out. I was 18 years old. And during the military, I learned a lot of lessons, man, like life, toughness, wisdom, perseverance. My character, I feel like it grew like a bunch. I made so many mistakes. I failed so much. And thankfully, looking back on it, my resilience that I had in the military was due to failing a lot as a kid in sports, and failing a lot in basketball. Like I told you guys earlier, I had anxiety. I was nervous in basketball practice, and I couldn't employ the skills that I had. I couldn't put them into action. And even though I had a kind of a foreshadow of that in the military, I had a little remnant of that, those problems. The military truly helped me toughen up and apply what I had learned my whole life. I mean, I met people in the military way more talented, way more skilled, had way more resources than I did growing up. These guys are making hella noise back here, jeez. But they had all these advantages, and in the military, I did somewhat better than so many of these guys. And on the contrary, there were guys that came up from worse situations than me, and they did better than me, right? So I start to realize, why is that? I start analyzing what the strengths and the weaknesses are. And I did a lot of that in the military. I analyzed myself. I got feedback. I was surrounded by dudes that were on a mission, surrounded by people that wanted to be somebody, wanted to grow every day. And, to this day, that's something I really miss from the military. I met a lot of great people, a lot of great mentors. And through those failures, man, I allowed those failures that I faced in the military to make me better. And I learned from them. And I'm 25 now. I got out of the military when I was about to turn 23. So it's been almost 2 years. It's been over 2 years and maybe 2 months since I got out. And all the things that I learned, I came back to my hometown. I'm cutting hair now. I've realized there's so many things I learned. And the reason why I'm making these videos and I'm speaking to you guys, and if you're watching this video, the reason why I want you to listen is because I really think that I have things of value to say to people. And I don't want to make myself some kind of authority where I'm an expert on certain things. No, it's not really the case. I actually, on the contrary, I feel like I have so much to learn, and I really want to document and I want to share with you guys what I'm learning. And if you guys could get something out of it, then we both win. Now, this is something that is very, very normal with me these days. With every client that sits in my chair, I'm a barber right now. I talk very deep things. I don't want to have these kind of service level conversations. I want to ask them how they're doing, like what they're battling with, what they're struggling with, because I think in life, the things that we struggle with are simple in nature, but the solutions are complex, right? So if you're struggling with money, there's so many ways online on how to make money, but what causes us to not necessarily act on it is so many different things, and it's things that you learn throughout life. You need discipline, determination, character, integrity, right? All these things that you learn in different ways. Like, where do you even begin, right? So I like having these conversations because I'm a person, I love learning, right? The reason why I gave you guys kind of like a very surface level overview of my life story is so you guys know where I come from, and so you guys know why I'm talking about the topics that I'm talking about. Fast forward now, right? If you want to continue further, once I got out the military, yeah, these guys are making so much noise. What an amazing place to make this video. Anyways, when I got out the military, right, I had known my wife. I met her in the military, but once I got out, 2 months later, after I got out, I took a big risk, which was after looking at it and I analyzed it. It really wasn't a risk, man. I married my wife, amazing woman. I do it a million times over. Even if it hasn't been easy, it's been great. And I say it hasn't been easy not because of her, but because life is challenging as it is, you know. So there's even lessons in relationships that I have, man. Being married so young, and I feel 1,000%. I definitely chose the right woman to get married to, 1,000,000%. That could be a separate video in its own, and I hope to make them in the future. But you know, this is just a small overview, guys, that I want you guys, the audience that's really sticking with me from the beginning, that are watching me grow, that are watching all my videos, that are supporting. I want to talk about content and videos that you're interested in, things that are gonna help you. I want this to be the channel that every video I put out, you get so much value that you want to share with everybody. And in order to do that, you guys need to know where I'm coming from so it can hit harder. That being said, what is it? It's February 6th right now. New video every Friday. Drop a comment on what you want me to talk on next. I want to speak on things that are within my capacity. I don't want to give you guys fake answers because I want them to impact you guys, right? So as I learn, I give you what I learn, and as we all grow together, we're gonna keep learning new things. So I'm excited. You already know. It's Friday. Hope you enjoy this vid. Thank you guys, and peace out. Till next week. Later.